At every stage of life, we are faced with critical decisions that can profoundly impact our personal and professional trajectories. Yet, many of us struggle to make choices with clarity and confidence, often succumbing to the cognitive biases, emotional influences, and the paralysis of uncertainty. Now, the question arises: have you ever agonized by a tough choice, paralyzed by indecision and self doubt? If you said yes, then we've all been there. Facing a crossroad in life where the path forward seems uncertain and the consequences of our choices feel monumental is a common feeling for every human being. The truth is, decision making is one of the most powerful and consequential skills that we as a human can cultivate. The choices we make, big, small, it can shape the trajectory of our lives in many different ways. They determine our careers, relationship, health, and our overall lives. Even a small decision can make a very big impact. Now, I want you guys to look at this. The process of decision making is fraught with pitfalls and biases that can derail our judgment. We fall victim to emotional influences, snap judgment, and the trap of overthinking. We struggle to embrace uncertainty and calculated risk. Now, take a look at this question. If you answer yes, then you kinda messed up, but if you answer no, you won't be as messed up and you won't get the experience. Turns out, if you just take the risk and decide to choose yes, which is the toughest part, or the toughest path, you will gain more experience and you will learn a lot more than if you choose to back out, even though it might not seem like it. Remember that every leader in this world, every figure, have faced difficult decisions and each and every one of them always choose the toughest path. For example, Nelson Mandela in 1985, the president at that time, Botha, offered Mandela freedom if he renounced his violence and other illegal activity. This offer was turned down by Mandela and he opted to stay in his cold and dark cell. And he was prepared to serve the remainder of his life sentence. This tough decision made by him was very powerful since it greatly elevated his position as the face of the opposition while also drawing the attention to his personal sacrifice and made him become the Mandela that we know now. This is just a big example, while for us, it might be more simple, such as whether should we join an organization, which university study at, and other similar examples. When I graduated from senior high school, I suddenly had the desire to continue my studies abroad. At the time, I was faced with two difficult choices, whether to continue my study in Indonesia or to continue them abroad. The consideration at the time was that if I stayed in Indonesia, then I already know everything. I could easily adapt or might not even need to adapt. I could get my hand on everything and pretty much it's just easier. Well, if I went abroad, at the time the country that I chose was the Netherlands, University of Groningen. I had to start everything from scratch. I didn't know anyone, I didn't know anything. And even I never stepped a foot in Europe before. At the time, for some reason, my heart was set on studying abroad. I wasn't the type that take risks before. I always choose the easiest way to get through. I always want peace and comfort in my life. But in one of the most crucial moments for an 18-year-old boy, I finally choose to take the tough road, which is studying abroad. Well, little did I know, this decision changes my life and take me to places I've never expected before. After studying there, I learned that there are a few problems in the city. One of the main problems being the housing problem. The problem that led thousands of students go back to their home country and redo their study. But turns out, I am one of those students. After 7 months, I got nowhere to stay, and again, I was faced with two difficult choices. I won't go into any details, but after 7 months of studying there, I got nowhere else to stay, and I faced two difficult choices. That is to continue my study there and stay at the hotel, but it will burden my parents, or I can choose the tougher route, which is to go back to Indonesia and redo my study again. And again, I chose the harder decision. Looking back now, if I can go back in time, would I change a few things with my knowledge now? Yes, of course. Do I regret this decision? Well, kind of. But if I was faced with this decision again, would I choose the exact same thing? Yes, because turns out when I chose to make this tough decision, it led me to many positions that I never even imagined. The knowledge that I get, the experience, and how it changes me as a person is something that I will always grateful for. And therefore, even though there are some regrets, I will still choose that decision. And it reminds me of this quote that if you're faced with two choices, choose the one that you fear the most, because that is the one that is going to require the most from you. I'm Rafi Nabeel Andika. This is my TED Talk, and thank you for listening.